So, where does this leave us? The good news is that this is still a story in the making. It's a moral frontier, and I think that the recent onslaught of technocracy has really awakened a lot of people. There are all kinds of, there's a range of responses, and they're all greatly informed by our understanding of the worldview and the connections of these people. And what's revealed by engaging with an open mind and an open heart is that it really reveals the loopholes. I can say right off the bat that with this whole notion of exponential growth, these guys are into exponential growth in technology and in finance, and exponential growth has no cycles in it. And as a result, it has deferred reflection and analysis. And they are in such a bubble. They have never really experienced significant resistance. They truly speak as if everybody would want this. And so they're pretty weak when it comes to being prepared for resistance. They're actually flabbergasted. We had this guy, Ted Chu, over. He was like chief economist at the World Bank and head of a huge investment fund with Abu Dhabi. And he was on a book tour promoting transhumanism. We had him over to learn this stuff. He was absolutely shocked. He came in shell-shocked. He had been in an interview and he arrived just going, people just took him apart. He had no idea that was coming because they live in a world where this is all only desirable. So the notions of people coming in with some real alternative strategies at which to engage, they're like, oh, they're not strong there. The other thing, the other loophole, is that it's a faulty premise. I mean, this notion that evolution is a quotient above unintelligent is, I believe, demonstrably a faulty premise. And that love is not just a feeling, it's actually a harmonious relationship with the life force. And they're missing that in their calculations. I also see tremendous fear. Fear is blinding, whether it's theirs or ours. And their fear of nature, I mean, can you imagine being afraid of nature? Nature's strong. And that fear blinds them to the glory of life that you and I recognize and honor. Their belief that consciousness is a physical construct that lives in the brain, that you could freeze a head and come up with a person, blinds them to the role of the conscious field and of the heart. Those are significant. The advantage of taking on the rabbit hole of health freedom and transhumanism without fear is that it keeps us from being blind to the opportunities that exist. And once you see their strategy and worldview, you can support the innovations that counter that agenda. What about owning our own data, right off the bat? So if we want some kind of feedback because we can benefit from that as a diabetic or anything else, okay, but we own the data and we're not providing it for the training of these AIs or for buying and selling in these capital markets. And supporting alternative internet that's happening all over the place. I know Green Med Info right now is doing a fabulous series exposing some great new alternatives to the internet, alternatives to data transport, data storage, all transactions. Like these are also happening. There are fabulous innovations in these, and they become more important for us to support when we understand the role that they play here. There are also alternatives to traditional insurance. With traditional insurance, like this is the case in China with the social credit, and it'll be here in no time, is that it can control what doctors we can access, what technology we can use, and it can be withheld if you're not behaving, and it shares the data with these, with the nefarious end goal. So an alternative insurance is very significant. It's one of the things we'll be able to get into next week, where we have a wonderful guy who's developing an alternative to insurance who's to speak to that. So building diverse economies becomes critical when you understand the fourth industrial revolution. And to also just like right now, check on who's owning the data you're providing. Like when you read the small print in this stuff, it's pretty, like if you read any DNA sampling kit, read where it ultimately lands. And also we can learn the language. It takes a glossary to wade through the doublespeak. I mean, they have cornered the market on things like, it's like love your child or something. I mean, that's not one, but precision health, even all of the things that are just thoroughly advantageous sounding without actually, adding some understanding of the whole picture. So when we keep this connection to understand the worldview and we look open-heartedly and with clarity, even at the most, serious shadow in our midst here, I believe we stay connected to the only thing more powerful than all the money, all the tech, and all the players in this far-reaching agenda, and that's the life force itself. And that's our real advantage. That is the advantage. People are coming forward out of care and compassion and clarity to offer some of the most strategic and scientific solutions. And our task is to cultivate the qualities and the capacities that make us human so that we can interface responsibly and ethically with the technology.